It has to do with the fact that more than half of the great people that I'm privileged to command, more than half of the 55,000 members of the United States Special Operations Command come from the various units of the United States Army Special Operations Command, including our Special Forces groups, the 75th Ranger Regiment, the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment, and the Active Duty Civil Affairs and Psychological Operations Commands, along with a few other special units. Many of the senior leaders of these units and some of the components within Special Operations Command are graduates of this great institution. My deputy commander of the United States Special Operations Command is Lieutenant General Frank Kearney, a 1976 graduate. The current commanders of the United States Army Special Forces Command, Brigadier General Mike Repass, and the 75th Ranger Regiment, Colonel Eric Earl, are graduates of West Point. Some of the most influential figures in the history of our Special Operations community were from the long gray line, including, quite notably, General Wayne Downey, after whom the Counterterrorism Center has been named. Lieutenant General Del Daly, Colonel Russell Boltman, Major General William Yarborough, Colonel William Darby, all of whom were key figures in developing our organization doctrine and in leading us through more than 50 years of special operations. We in the United States Special Operations Command and the Special Operations community owe much to this great institution for producing men and women with the vision and character necessary to break away in many ways from the traditional service mindsets, often at great risk to their own careers, in order to create the vital forces and the doctrine needed to counter the irregular, asymmetric threats that now face our nation. Many West Pointers continue to serve in key leadership positions throughout our ranks, and they've proven themselves time and time again with skill, wisdom, and great courage on today's battlefields. Some of you will follow in their footsteps. My old role models were a little less obvious. Mike Nelson of Sea Hunt on TV, James Bond maybe in Thunderball, and Dennis the Menace. I didn't actually follow in any of their footsteps, but their cumulative effect inspired me to attend the Naval Academy and pursue the life of the Navy frogman. And so for that, I'm thankful. Before you all head off to your home, I will take just a few minutes to talk about leadership and the type of qualities that I think you should strive to developing yourselves during your remaining time here at West Point. As you began this academic year, each one of you committed to becoming an Army officer about 16 months from now. Most of you were 12 or 13 years old during the events of September 11, 2001, and now you feel a need to answer our nation's call to service. For that, I, my family, and 340 million other Americans, thank you. It's no surprise to any of you that you will join an Army at war. My generation thinks of this as a new kind of war, but for you it will just be what war is. Most of you at some point in the next few years will be making decisions that have serious consequences concerning your people and your mission. It's your duty to be as prepared as possible to make those decisions. You'll never be 100% prepared for every circumstance, so you must understand your limitations as well as your capabilities. As officers, your position will not be about rank and power. It will be about responsibility and accountability. Use your authority to lead, manage, champion, and nurture your assigned force. You're not expected to know everything, but you are expected to work and lead at the upper levels of your knowledge, skill, and authority. Strive to be the technical and tactical expert of your unit, but realize that in certain areas you will not not reach the level of your NCOs, some of whom will be as educated as you. Knowing your people and their capabilities and limitations will allow you to optimize your team's performance. The ability to build an effective team is the priceless attribute of a military leader. You can look at how much civilian institutions in the world fight to keep effective team builders in their organizations. Top coaches, CEOs, university presidents, and the like are all carefully selected because of their leadership and their team building skills. You are in position to be leaders and team builders in the most demanding and honorable profession in the world.
Is that true at your company?
I'm occasionally asked to list some of the characteristics that make up a successful special operations warrior. You may be surprised to hear that there's no particular gene or strand of DNA in our bodies. The traits are the same as those required for any successful leader. Confidence, initiative, motivation, tenacity, professionalism, courage, loyalty, integrity, and patriotism, to name a few. You already possess and have demonstrated these basic traits to a high degree. The only difference between you and those in the field who are demonstrating those is a level of experience, skill, and maturity combined with sufficient resources to train and maintain a high level of proficiency. So my question is, what are you doing with the traits you already possess? How are you working to continue developing and how will you foster those traits in your subordinates? Soldiers, every soldier I know wants to be successful in his job or her job, and NCOs possess a wealth of knowledge and experience. So your job is to effectively manage and lead a winning team. There are several factors in becoming a successful small unit leader. There is, of course, your personal contribution, largely through example. You must be both knowledgeable and skillful. You must live the life of a leader in your values, character, courage, and discipline, on duty and off duty, every day. You stand up to be an example for others to follow, and you show confidence because it's inspirational. You strive to be at the top of your game, physically and mentally, and you understand you can never be too prepared. You need to empower your subordinate leaders to work at the fullest extent of their capabilities and authority, and understand that the best measure of your performance is their performance. Inspire them to take responsibility and ownership for their actions. Ensure that you train them, trust them, and then hold them to standard. And what you tolerate in your presence demonstrates your standards far more than anything you can say. You must understand that leadership is not a popularity contest. You don't have to be liked to be an effective leader. You do have to be respected. Training must be hard, tough, and realistic. And meeting the standards must become automatic, and drills should be executed instinctively, not through robotic response, but through practice and application of a wide variety of solutions. It's very important to practice failing. One of the things that special operations teams do that a lot of others don't do is program failure into our training. It's how can you react to emergencies and contingencies and enemy successes unless you've rehearsed, practiced what to do when things go wrong or fail altogether. All of you are familiar with the saying that no plan survives first contact, so be prepared. I'd be remiss to not briefly discuss